aware we have a new president, although that's disputed. And we got to talk about Yemen, right? Because that's what's happening. And you've said for years that Yemen is the worst atrocity going on in the world. And now Joe Biden has announced, I guess, I mean, I haven't really dug into it. This just happened yesterday, right? He announced that there would be, the wording was really important, I thought. There would be no more offensive or support for offensive operations. Is that how he put it? By the Saudis against the poor people of Yemen. So tell us what's going on there and how you read it.
Honestly, I'm going to be a little bit more charitable about it than you for now.
Okay.
My take is, I'm mildly optimistic, not based on the statement, but based on the overall context of what's going on here. My interpretation of the statement is all that stuff about, well, still defensive, is not really a loophole to keep the war going. What that is covering their flank while they're backing down. They're saying, look, it's not like we're throwing our allies, the Saudis, under the bus. We're still going to give them Patriot missiles and Iron Domes and Aegis radars and whatever they need, whatever we can do to help them defend themselves from missile attack and drone attack.
Right.
That way, they're not just dropping the whole thing. Okay. They're being careful about it. That's the way I interpret that. And again, it's not because I'm being charitable toward Biden or Blinken, just in taking overall in the context of how the decision was made and how it comes about. That I think that's how I take that, the part about the defensive role in it.
Right.
When they're talking about ending the offensive role, for now at least, I take that at face value. That means that they are very soon phasing out and ending intelligence and logistic and maintenance support, as well as the rearming, the stopping arms sales of new bombs. And now they could do very specific things. I talked with Hassan Al-Tayyab from the Friends Committee earlier, and he was pointing out that they snap their fingers and stop selling tires for the F-15s. F-15s need new tires every time they land, time they land. And so that's it. That's one thing we can do to just turn it off like a switch. And frankly, Biden could say to Mohammed bin Salman and Mohammed bin Zayed from the United Arab Emirates, that's it, boys. We're done. We're the superpower. You're the client state. And not only are we not helping you anymore, we expect you to wrap things up by Thursday. And that's it. And he could do that. And we should be continuing to insist that he does that. He has not done that. And Mike Pompeo, on the way out the door, just 3 weeks ago, a week before he left office, the Secretary of State added the Houthis, the so-called enemy in Yemen, to the terrorist list, which means that no aid groups can provide food aid to anybody under their jurisdiction. Now, the Biden people could have said, well, whatever, Mike Pompeo made that crap up 1 week ago. They could have said this 2 weeks ago. Mike Pompeo made that up 1 week ago. It doesn't mean anything. We hereby rescind it. Instead, they didn't do that. They said, well, we're going to review it and we'll have our answer by the end of the month. Well, if they just ended the war, then this whole Houthis on the terrorist list thing should be an afterthought and easy to cancel immediately. And the aid group screamed bloody murder. And when the Democrats said, no, see, we're reviewing it and it's temporarily suspended and we're providing waivers, they said, no, that's not good enough, dude. By the bylaws of our NGO, we can't intervene somewhere where somebody's even, penciled in on the terrorism list pending review or anything like this. They got to be in the clear. As long as they're even pending review, then we can't do anything to help these people. And this is a huge famine. It's just horrible. And this year's bad as any or worse in this thing. And so, leave it to the Democrats they're doing the right thing. They really are. And look, they're not ending the war. To be real clear about this, they're not ending the war at that. They're switching sides in the war again, back to the other way, which is, it's 99% better than the war they have going on right now. I hate to say that because the war against Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula has always been a horror show, and it's going to continue to be a horror show. But man, this war for Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula the last 6 years is the worst thing America. It's as bad as George Bush marching into Iraq in 2003. Right. It's an absolute horror show. And it's the worst thing. And so calling an end to that and switching sides if not right back to the Houthis, because, our new Secretary of Defense was the head of CENTCOM at the time. He was the one who was backing the Houthis, giving them intelligence to use to kill al-Qaeda for us there 2 months before Obama and Lloyd Austin stabbed them in the back and turned around and took al-Qaeda's side against them. But that was, according to Mark Perry, the great Pentagon reporter, that was over Lloyd Austin's dead body. He was so pissed off about that. And he wanted to write a letter to Obama saying, how dare you do this, Mr. President? And then his colleagues talked him out of it. He clicked his heels and obeyed his orders anyway, which is horrifying. But at least he knows who's who over there and cares, and is, as a general, an apolitical general, is a lot more interested in killing al-Qaeda guys than whoever the Saudis are mad at or whatever, So that's really why I think, and also I should say, I was trying to make excuses for why I think there's a positive spin on this, is that I think there are people in the Obama government who started this war who really wish they hadn't, and who thought, God, what the hell were we doing when they did that? And they all signed this letter. It's easy to sign a letter complaining about it during Donald Trump, of course. But I think they really did have second thoughts about this. And this new guy, Robert Malley, that they've made the new envoy to Iran, he wrote this thing. I quote at length in the book because it's ridiculous in its way, but take it at face value. This thing he wrote in the Atlantic magazine, where he's kind of making excuses for them and saying, geez, we sort of had one little meeting where when I asked my friends about it, none of us remember the meeting the same way when we decided to do this, but we sure thought it was going to be a limited little thing. And here we are 3 years into a genocide, and God dang, is this that same war we started? We wish we hadn't. That kind of spirit of the thing.
Okay.
And then because of the public pressure, all the credit really goes to the Friends Committee on National Legislation, the Quakers, and the Code Pink, and the justforeignpolicy.org, and probably 10, 15 other groups. I interviewed again Hassan El-Tayeb from the Friends Committee today, and he listed them all. A real bottom up, absolute, no AstroTurf. No, there's no Yemen lobby, right? There's no powerful Yemeni oil sheiks in America who have an alliance with the Israelis to get things done in Congress or something like that. That's the other side of the war, the Saudis. There's nobody cares about them except just regular people. And regular people are the ones who made this happen for years, have been screaming about it and doing the work on Capitol Hill, banging on doors and saying, we're not done with this yet, Congressman. And they've gotten in the House and in the Senate. They have gotten Democrats and Republicans that they, only with the help of Mike Lee and Rand Paul and the good Republicans in the Senate and a few in the House, were they able to pass the War Powers Act resolutions to try to force Trump to end the war. Twice they did that. And of course, he vetoed them and continued on anyway. So it is absolutely due to grassroots political pressure from real people demanding an end of this war that all this has happened. And then, yes, it's not over yet, but I'll say one more thing about it, is they nominated this guy, I forgot his name, to be the new envoy to solve the problem, to negotiate a peace between Saudi and the Houthis too. So it's not just we're backing off, but we're also sending our negotiator to try to bring these guys to the table to end it. So I think, of course, I prefer everybody just quit everything, but I'm just saying that's an indication that this is a serious effort here.
Okay.